Hey guys, it's Ellen here and welcome to my channel. And you know, Mondays are Mini Monday Madness. Today we're painting cherry blossoms. We got our landscape and just a simple cherry blossom tree. I go everything step by step. It's pretty simple. We're just going to washing in color to make the trees and branches. If you're a Patreon member, you can download the traceable that goes with it. If you haven't been a Patreon member, you can check it out up over here. And I have traceables that go with my YouTube channel. I have ad-free videos, and every Thursday I have exclusive tutorial there that are not on YouTube. And it's just a place people can go and support my channel, which I appreciate very much. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorial's up, because they're kind of sporadic. Sorry, guys. I'm not exactly organized that way. But I hope you appreciate me for that. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, to go over this beginning of the tutorial, I'll go over my supplies. I always use a 3-inch square 100% cotton arches paper. Especially for this one, I'm doing wet on wet technique kind of in this one. I taped them down with Scotch tape on just this cheap cardboard, whatever works for you guys. You know, if you don't like Scotch tape, you can use whatever painter's tape you have. I'll be using my Princeton 8 long round and maybe my 4. I'm not sure if I'll use the 4, but I might. I have a paper towel, my paints, and I go over them as I use them in water jars. Everything is in the description box. Also, like I said, if you're a Patreon member, you can download the sketch, and I have a bonus little tree sketch there you can play around with. But basically, you know, we're going to just be painting. So I'm just kind of drew in, if you can see this little sketch up here. This little, it's like a triangle kind of going here. The road is going here and out here. You know, and then we're going to wash and paint, and then we're going to put in the color. So it doesn't really matter if you have a sketch or not, but sometimes people need to go by a sketch, so you can go on Patreon and do that. And then we're just making these little branches down here. I'll show you how to paint it and go over it. So, cherry blossoms. I know someone had asked me today about it, and I'm like, oh, it's funny. I'm like, I'm going to have it. We're just going to do this like really bright, pretty colors like the sky, but it's going to be pink and blue and some browns and then greens in here for the grass, and a little bit of a tan color for the road. And I just realized I'm going to make this road a little bit smaller. There we go. Sketch that in. So it's just like a little rounded triangle here in the little corner there. So you'll see me as I paint it. So I'm going to start off getting the top half. I'm using my Princeton 8 long round of this guy. Wet, just like this, just where I want the sky and some of the background trees to be. Get a good amount of water in here. Get it pretty damp, and we're gonna wash in some pale blue and some pink. So I have got too many greens over here. Gotta clean these out. Should have cleaned these out. I have a peacock blue with some verditer blue. Verditer blue is that pretty pale blue that I love. Just kind of put some of that color in here. I'm going to water it down. I don't want it super blue. And I'm just going to put in a little blue, kind of up in here. I don't want too much though, just a little bit. And it's going to dry lighter, which is what I want. So I'm just kind of, I'm putting in very wet blue in here. Really simply wet blue. Ta-da. I'm getting it really lighter over here. So you can kind of like blend it down like that, holding it up. But see how pale that is? If you want to get darker, fine. We're going to bleed in some nice pretty cherry blossom trees. So I've got this bright rose. Oh, that blue was on my brush. Don't want that because it's going to turn it purple. And this is like, wow, look how intense that color is. If you want to tone it down a bit, I'll add a little bit of yellow. And that makes that perfect color. So I'm going to put in some of this. Whoa, it's so intense, right? I'm going to keep the Van Dyke brown close by because I want some brown, some orange. So I'm going to water this down again. We're making those like fuzzy trees kind of with this pink. I'm going to add a little more yellow. Just to tone down, that was pretty intense. So you're just going to tap tap in. Let me zoom in so you can see a little bit more. See, tap, tap, tap. The trees. Right? I'll do a little pink one over here. Add a little brown on the bottom. Add a little brown in between this one. A little orangey brown, see? You don't want it so pink. I mean, that's not natural. I have this pinkish brown I want to put over in here. Tapping, tap, tap, tap. Those fuzzy trees. Add a little yellow. Up over in here. Down in here. A little brown. Oops. Not too much brown. A little yellow. Kind of looks like a fall tree, but we're going to put some more pink back in here too. So then I'm going to put some more pink. Woohoo! That's so bright. Back in here. This is so damp. A little bit of pink up in here. See, I'm just really tapping a little tap, 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 tap. Because I still want that blue to show. I would say make it more concentrated, but then it's going to be real intense pink, and we want this pale pink. This is like the perfect color tree, isn't it? Got the yellows with the pinks. Got a little more pink in here just to brighten it up. Right on the edge here. Back here. Already it's looking cute, right? We're just tapping in color. This is not rocket science. This is really simple. Okay, I hate to say it. To me, it's really simple, yes. So some people get frustrated when I say that. But I really feel like you guys can totally... I'm adding a little bit darker blue here. Just to brighten this up. And clean up my brush and tap it. So it kind of blends. There you go. And add a little bit of green and brown going here. Right? Already we've got this pretty pink. You know, I'm going to add a little bit more of this brown color, brown, orange. So I mixed Van Dyke brown with some brilliant orange in here, a little on the bottom here, and some down here. And this is kind of dry here. I didn't realize. I'm going to put some water right here. So I'm going to have trees going in here. So I want a little more grounded color, like brown and yellow, orange. That would make more sense. I just like that way it looks right now, right? You can go in and add a little more bright pink if you want. I'm just going to grab some of that concentrated bright rose. And I'm just going to tap little taps. Almost like little polka dots. But kind of, don't put them all like separate. Just kind of tap them. A little bit here and there. Tap, tap, tap. So like these bright leaves. Has this really cool effect. You don't want to put that everywhere though. And a little bit out here. I'm going to go back in with some brown again. Just a little bit here. Right in the middle. And a little yellow too. I want to get a little darker down here. The brown, maybe a little darker with the pink too. So I'm just going to make this tapping kind of situation with my brush. But you see how like the pink, right? Can add a little yellow brown going back in here too. We're going to be adding some dark trees in there while they're, you know, going to grate the brown again. Now this is dry kind of here. I had this curve going here. I'm going to grab some of this green. I have olive green here. Just putting some of that, just like that in the corner, curving it. And then adding some brown. Tapping, tapping. So you got this really dark curve. Okay. We're going to play around with the green section in here. So we can mix up, I have like the olive green gouache and olive green watercolor. Let's just try the olive green watercolor for now. And I'm going to wash in this green. right in this corner, going like this. See, it's just a nice little triangle, but rounded, because it's the road curving. And over in here. Now you can see the road. You know, I might have went over my sketch, but that's fine. So you got this pale green down. We're going to build on the greens. I'm going to add some brown, Van Dyke brown while it's still wet. I'm going to tap some of that in here. Down in here. I'm going to grab some of this. I'm going to make a darker green using my olive green. Maybe some Prussian blue. There we go. Just kind of tapping that around here. Kind of mix it a little bit more so it's a medium green, because I feel like this is kind of a little too light. A little back here. Putting it in some here. So it's starting to really build now. Let me get this really green, dark green kind of, I would say stripe, but shadows from other areas. I'm going to grab some of that Prussian blue. Or even indigo. Whatever dark blue you have, mix it with the brown. Again, I'm going to go in and add some of that darker color just right over here. And a little bit back here. I kind of want to flesh that light green into a little bit darker light. I mean, not darker light, but I want it light green, but I don't want it so light. So I'm going to go back in here and just fill that in. Like so. This is just a really loose landscape. Okay. And then we're going to do the little, we're adding the little darker greens. So, like again, the green mixed with some blue and some brown, even some red if you wanted to do that. Going to put a little bit out here. Going to bleed some in up here. Do a quick little stripe going here and here. So we're just building up this whole mound area. In this section I want a little more brown, so I'm going to add my Van Dyke brown. Maybe add a little orange, because it's not looking so brown. It's looking just dark. So I just put orange right on that green, and you can see the brown kind of coming in. Just like that. And brown here. So this is very wet, so we're going to let this dry a little bit. Meanwhile, back at the farm, on the other side where we have the branches, I'll just show you, this is so simple. So you can mix your brown, move this green out of the way. You get the Van Dyke brown. Maybe mix some magenta or whatever. I want to make like a really deep, dark, blackish brown. Might even add black to it. And we're going to make some blossoms and some, we're going to do the brown on top of it too. So we got that nice pretty pink. Going to water it down. I added a little yellow because I think the pink is a little too intense. Okay, get this really wet and loose. We're just going to do this little, so we drew this little branch, to draw the little branches, I'm just going to make this sporadic. Let me get a little piece of paper. Tracing. So you're going to make these jarred little branches coming down, you know, for the cherry blossom. Just like this. Like twigs like that. So before the, so while you have that drawn on your little piece of paper, I'm just going to put in some blossoms where the branches are. And we're just going to push in the color. Let me just show you. Whoops. So this is a little dark, but just make like these rounded. This is coming out too intense. I want it real light. Pretty with that pink. See, I'm just kind of making this like a little I wouldn't say it's a circular shape. It's kind of a circular shape, but I'm putting a bunch of blooms clustered in some places, bigger and smaller in some places, just right on top of those branches. And we're going to go put those branches in too, because the dark goes over the light in watercolor, not the opposite. See, I'm just making this wiggly kind of cluster. I wouldn't call them circles. You don't have to make the blooms perfect. You do tiny little ones, tapping the little tiny ones, and then making bigger ones. Just like that. See, right on top of the branch is starting to build as like a nice pretty cherry blossom. So we have like the field here, and we have just like the tree branch here. See, I'm just kind of wiggling the brush in a kind of a circular shape. And then I'm doing some dots down out here. Like the blossoms are like flying. Just like that. You can kind of get a sense that they're in a branch somewhere. If you keep them all on the branch. And don't go crazy painting a whole bunch of them in. You could get right in the center of some of them a really concentrated of this pink. If it gets watered down, just throw in a real dark color right in the center of the pink. Okay, at this point, this is where I might grab my number 4 brush. So I have that blackish brown, mixing some more black in here. It's really dark brown. And we're just going to put in those jagged branches. Now we're going to go in between the flowers because they're watercolor. If it was acrylic or a gouache, you could paint the light color right on top of the flower. But it's watercolor, so you can't. See? Just putting that jagged branch. Really dark colored. What makes it so pretty is that it's this deep, intense brown and this really pretty pale pink. There comes another branch up here. And I'm not doing anything special with it. See, I'm just putting in these little lines. Get this branch even bigger. So you know it's a cherry blossom. Put a little branch out here. It's almost like a black brown. And then just do some little teeny ones coming off that branch that you see. Just like that. Now if you want, you could get like one, a couple, or a few of the blossoms just a little bit bigger. You know? Like right up here. Just to give it a variety. Just like that. And then when that dries, you can go back in and add. And if you wanted to splatter some paint on the edge, just be careful not to get this paint over here. Dark pink. It would just add a little something to your picture. You can get that cluster of the dark pink right in the center of these ones. See, that was a simple little branch. Going back to the other one, going to put our road in and some branch trees, and we're almost done, and some shadows. So I'm going to do a tan road. I've got my brown and my yellow mixed together. Maybe add a little gray. Kind of make this pretty tan color. On the road. Just going to fill that in. Now we're going to have to wait till that dries to put in some kind of shadows. Might add a little like reddish tone to it. While that's drying, we can go in and add some detail with the trees. Something like my brown here. Maybe a little gray, Payne's gray. And we're just going to put in some trees. So there's a tree here. Kind of bending. Make it a little bigger on the bottom. There's a bunch of trees. It's basically a tree line road, so you're making all these trees. Put some bigger ones over here. They're going to kind of be bending and forming up this way. If you want to use your skinnier brush like the 4, it might work better for you. Gonna go in and grab this color. Here we go. Do a bunch of trees. Back here, I'm doing these little teeny skinny ones here. Bending just really tiny with the brush. See that? That's what the skinny brush works in. Great. Just doing really tiny bendy trees. And with the one up front, gonna have another tree back here. And he's gonna be bending like crazy, going this way and this way. We'll add some pretty blooms to that tree. This is what we're doing. Just gonna make these trees kind of bending and going kind of goofy and crazy. Put another dark one back here. Branches. See what we're forming here? Put another tree right up front here. I'll add a little dark like black to the side of it on the right. And put some more little skinny branches. Just a bunch of trees. And we'll go back in and we'll add some blooms. Just making all these little branches. It's good to have a really tiny brush like this. Going in and adding some like almost black brown in here. And the trees here. They're kind of crazy and like kind of bending. So you can go nuts putting trees in here. As you see, I'm doing tree branches. Kind of bending this way or that way. Don't go too crazy. Okay, then we're going to take some dark green. Again with the same blues and the browns. All right, I'm going to put some shadows by the road. Just going to fill this in by the trees. So this is wet on dry. And get this part bled out too much, so I want to get back here and get some brown in here. Van Dyke brown I'm mixing with orange. All right, the dark green. I'm going to put in for tree shadows. And you'll see in a second. Just putting in shadows where the trees would be. Back in here. So the road, I'm going to get a little bit darker. Get the brown. Just adding a little dark in here. And we're going to be adding shadows to the road. So I'm grabbing my brown. I might mix some magenta in there. Some yellow, orange. So I'm going to get some tree shadows. That's too light. Okay, darker. Crossing where the green is. See? Just make these like squiggly shadows. Make sure it's crossing where the green is. So where the green shadow we put in here, and I want to put the same thing with the shadow here. And up here you can just kind of throw in some shadows a little bit darker, kind of over here. And just throw the shadow in. So it looks like a shadow from the road, right? And then way back here, same thing. A little bit darker. So you got the green where the green is, and then the brown on the road. The shadow in that. Grab the brown, crisscrossing. So it looks like shadow on the road, right? And we're gonna go back in and grab our pretty pink. I've mixed some brown in there, maybe put some yellow in there. And we're going to do some little tapping of the... I might use a bigger brush for this. The number 8. Little blooms on the branches. Ooh, water. So we're just going to loosely put in some pinks by the branches. Going to add this pink. So you bled some in the beginning, and then we're going to just kind of put some in again at the end. I'm dabbing my paper towel because I feel like it's too watery. I'm just kind of going like this, tapping it around. All the way where those tree little branches are. So we're adding some more blossoms. Getting it kind of pale, we'll add a little yellow. We'll add the pink. And you can get brighter if you want to. So you still want the blue to show through, but you're going to put this pink in. Just like that. It's going to just abstract. It's not really specific. That has to be perfect. Like I said, get this pink in even brighter if you want to. In certain spots. You get the idea that it's cherry blossoms. So now I'm going to go in and grab just some yellow here. I'm going to get this yellow on. I'm going to do a little bit of a yellow wash in some areas. Yellow on top of the green is going to brighten it up. Right in there. Kind of want to brighten that green up. Just a tad. And in here. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I wanted to keep it simple. You can go back in and add little teeny, you know, brighter blooms if you want. I want to keep it simple. It's cherry blossoms, but, you know, not specific. And then this one you can go back in and add little centers if you want. It's nice to add a little couple of other colors too, like some of the yellow in here. Get that yellow right in here. That's it. So let's reveal our little guys. Kneeling up at the same time. We've got a little landscape, right? And we've got a mini cherry blossom tree branch. Okay. Although my area is all snow, other parts of the world are not. So there you go. Oops. There are the two mini Monday Madness tutorials. Like I said, with the cherry blossom in this one, you can go in and add more. I might not have had some deep dark ones in there. You can go in and grab some. I got this magenta. Gonna add a little yellow, make a little red, or you can grab and make some darker ones just to punch it up a little bit. As I'm looking at it, I see how it's very pale. I might go back in and add some darker tone ones just to pull it up a little more. It's nice to have a good contrast. not always be one color kind of situation. And this was a lot of fun just to paint in this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this mini Monday Madness. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. And if you're a Patreon member, you can download some traceables today. I have like 3 of them there. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for supporting my channel and if you're a Patreon member, thank you for being a Patreon member. I really appreciate you. Help support my channel, which I appreciate. And thank you guys so much for stopping by. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.